Bro, listen. Sometimes when you scrolling YouTube, they suggest some fire for you. And I subscribe to this guy, Josh Johnson. I've seen his stand up a few times, man, but his take and his breakdown on the Drake and K. Dot beef is absolutely hilarious. It's comedy gold, man. I tried to shorten up some of the clips, but I wanted to share this because it absolutely had me rolling. Y'all bless up. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Gang, gang, gang. Squad. Squad. Gang.
I mean, it's pop culture. You probably heard about it. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching this whole Drake and Kendrick. My. What a time to be alive. All right, so Drake and Kendrick, they are rappers, sir. They're rappers. Okay, I want to make sure everybody, and I'm not acting like I know. You might bump Kendrick all the time. You might be a big Pimp a Butterfly fan. You know, I'm just checking. So, Drake and Kendrick's relationship actually goes back way further than people realize because Drake brought Kendrick with him on tour when Kendrick was like just starting to pop, but Drake was already a big deal, right? And it seemed like they were cool. You see these old interviews, they're in pictures together, they have such nice things to say about each other, and then along the line, something changed. Something happened. And we don't know what that thing is really, but they both started to kind of like go at each other in small ways. And some people take it all the way back to the Control verse. Kendrick did a verse in a song on, it was actually a Big Sean song. Big Sean is a rapper, sir. I just want to, all of these are just names and I want to make sure that we're all up to speed. So he did a verse on a Big Sean song called Control, but it blew up so much it became Kendrick's verse. It became the Control verse, which is crazy. And in that verse, he went at everybody. He called people out by name, you know? And he said, I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you. I'm trying to make sure that your fans don't even love you anymore. They love me so much. I'm coming for the crown. I'm coming for everything, right? And just about everybody thought that it was actually pretty dope. It was actually like, okay, hip-hop as a sport. Like hip-hop as, you know, a fun thing, a contest to see who's actually the best. Because everybody calls themselves the best on every song. Eventually, someone has to be the best. You know, every rapper believes that they're the best, and they say so in their music. A lot like how one city will have several First Baptist churches, right? But Drake has, I'm trying to be fair. Drake has a lot of feelings, and you can tell because he has a lot of albums. And there are feelings on every one of those albums. And some people don't have several albums worth of feelings. Some people only have 4 or 5 albums worth of feelings, you know? And some people decide when to let it out, and he just lets it out on a pretty tight schedule, a pretty regimented schedule of release to let out all of his feelings, you know, right? Fast forward a few years, and Drake's really big. And when I say really big, he's like what Bad Bunny is now, he was back then, like top in the world, right? Everybody wanted to be Drake. Everybody wanted to sing a little bit of Drake. He was #1 on Spotify. Every time he released, it was a big deal. And so some people, admittedly, were very jealous of Drake. You know, there were people who started to go at Drake a little bit. And Drake is a good writer. He may have writers that he works with. He may have... But he's also good. It's like when he's making music, everyone in the room is good. That's truly. Even if you hate Drake, Drake destroyed Meek Mill. He destroyed Meek Mill so bad that Meek Mill had to go back to jail just to just to level out some of that street cred. Drake gets into it. And I want to be clear because a lot of people sometimes feel bad for Drake in a way that I want to be clear. He does start a lot of this stuff. He does like have a little thing in a song that implies that your wife is unfaithful. And then when you come at him directly, he's like, what's with all the hate? I'm all love. It's like, the best way I can describe it is that Drake kind of fights like a cat. And some rappers fight like dogs. Drake went at Pusha T, which was a true mistake. This is the thing about people like Pusha T, right? You don't want to mess with anyone who's actually had a hard life. You know, like, Drake grew up in Canada, grew up with, like, it's just, this is my thing. A lot of people come at Drake for, they come at him in a way I don't like. They come at him in this, like, colorism way where he's like, you're not really black because you're half white. I don't roll with any of that. I just truly think, but you see what I'm talking about. I'm not, y'all are trying to get me to do something I'm not doing. I'm just saying it's very hard for a rapper to seem hard, right? When they have not been through what other rappers have been through. Like, it's hard to go hard when everybody knows you had health care. Kendrick is still off doing his thing, releasing amazing music, but Drake gets into it with Pusha T, which was a mistake because he told Pusha T, he's like, I got more money than you, I got more women than you, I'm more famous than you'll ever be. And then Pusha T said, you have a son. He released the fact that Drake had a son, which people didn't know, on a track that's cover was Drake in blackface. Everything about what Pusha T did to Drake is why you don't get involved with people like Pusha T. You're like, a part of me felt bad for Drake. Drake was probably like John at the mouth and everything and didn't know he'd do research. It's like, Drake is sitting there like, guys, I thought we were rhyming. I thought we were making music. What is this? Like J. Cole would pop up at Drake's concert. And J. Cole is also someone who I genuinely believe is one of the most talented, phenomenal, musically inclined artists that I've encountered. I really enjoy his music. I don't know him as a person, and I think he's amazing, right? So he is on a couple of Drake songs after they appeared together last year, and it made me listen to those songs. I was like, oh, J. Cole, okay, because I admittedly I hadn't listened to Drake in a long time because I only have a certain amount of feelings. And then at a certain point, I was like, I feel grown, like. And then they do a song called First Person Shooter. And in First Person Shooter, they're going back and forth about how great the era is and how great they are. And First Person Shooter is a fantastic song, right? And then J. Cole in the song says, you'll forgive me if I'm getting it wrong, but he says, maybe something like we're the top three, top two. And then he was like, is it Kendrick, is it Aubrey, or me? Because we're the big three, like we started the league. But right now I feel like Muhammad Ali, right? And I guess Kendrick heard that and took it as a personal affront. I wouldn't have felt that, like if two people were like, man, we're the best ever, and Josh is great too, and I wasn't even there, I would be like, oh, thanks. But I'm not built like Kendrick. And so then later we would also find out that apparently Drake tried to get Kendrick on that track. So he knew it was coming up and he didn't want any part of it. And then I guess he hated that he was mentioned. So then Metro Boomin and Future are rappers that... Because that could have been a label name. I'm not making fun of you at all. I'm just making sure everybody is up to speed. And you're right in front of me. That's all that's happening, right? So Metro Boomin and Future, they release an album called We Don't Trust You, and on it is a track called Like That. Now, Like That is where Kendrick does essentially the control effect on this song. He does a verse that really made me forget it was a song. I don't know what anyone else said on the song, right? And on the song, he says, "Fuck the big three, it's just big me," right? Which is also, hey, I've always said I want to be the best. I've said it from day one. As soon as people started interviewing me, I said I want to be the best. As soon as people started listening to my music, I said I wanted to be the best. This is not out of character for me. This is the same thing I did 10 years ago, right? So if it were me, if I was one of them, if I was Drake and I heard "fuck the big three, it's just big me," I also wouldn't take it as a personal affront. Because there were other things in the song where he came at Drake specifically. He didn't really have much for J. Cole. And yeah, it just sat for a while. It sat, and everybody was like, ooh, what are Drake and Cole gonna do? And then Cole was actually, I think, the first one to release. He released this song that he's since taken down called 7 Minute Drill, and he went at Kendrick in the song. And then he took it down, and a lot of people clowned him for it, but it's something that even, I'm not being a revisionist here. I said this when it happened. I was like, I respect the fact that he took it down. Because it's not something he really wanted to do. And the internet is all gas, no brakes. The internet will get you to mess up your life. Do you know what I mean? People you don't know are like, I wouldn't take that if I was you. What you gonna do? Huh? Do something, huh? Huh? People who are very safe at home, I wouldn't, if I was you, ooh, I'd go at his neck. I'd eat him alive if I was you. Do something, Jermaine, do it. Do it. And so he took it down, and he even said, he's like, I didn't feel like doing it, so it's not even good. I kind of just went at him a little bit, and it's true. In the song, he doesn't even say anything that bad. He's just like, one of your albums was boring. I won't even say which one. And then he took it down because he said, I don't know, this felt corny. And I respected the hell out of that. Very few men, grown men, famous men, powerful men, very few ever apologize. Very few ever apologize without being made to, with the threat of losing their money, losing their fame, losing something. Very few men. So I respect that. And people clowned him to no end. But then the actual beef between Drake and Kendrick started. And that was a lot. Because Drake released a song called Push-Ups, and he didn't just go at Kendrick, he went at a bunch of people and, implied that Kendrick's wife was unfaithful, that his son might not be his and everything. And people are like, ooh, what's Kendrick gonna do? What's gonna happen, right? And then, he releases another song, and this song is AI. This song is Drake with the late Tupac and Snoop Dogg, and it's going at Kendrick. And some people had their feelings about that. But then, oof. On a random morning, I was, it was right about the time I was supposed to say my prayers anyway. You know your morning prayers? Thank your God for waking me up this morning, right? And Kendrick dropped a song called Euphoria. And I think when it happened, a lot of people, including me, was like, oh, this is an actual rap beef now in the way that we had in the 90s. These dudes do not like each other. And Kendrick says he hates him in the song. He says, I hate you. He said it a lot. He said, I hate you a lot. He did artistically, but he was like, ooh, I hate you. Ooh. Ooh, I hate you. Ooh, right? And, woof. It was a lot, right? And then And then, Drake released. Actually, no, Kendrick released one. He released so many, I actually lost count. So then he released a song that I didn't even get to fully digest because he released, and then Drake released his response. And this was like what Drake had been waiting for. This was like all these, in my opinion, all these years of like, I was nice to you, and then you came at everybody, including me, and all I'm doing is writing my feelings down in albums and making money. And I just want to be number one. I just want to be the best with feelings. I want to be the best. And so he just took everything that he had, and he put it in a song called Family Matters, right? And 20 minutes later, Kendrick released a song called Meet the Grams, which is a real play off Family Matters. And he had said in 616 before, he was like, have you ever thought about the fact that like people in your camp are working for me, that everyone hates you so much they feed me information about you, and that there's no way that you're going to win this because I write so many songs, because all I do is hang out with my wife and my kids and I write, Drake. This is all that I do. I enjoy this. This is my favorite thing to do, is just sit at home and hate you and write songs about you and how much I hate you, so I can go forever. This will never be over. We can chill. We can just go back and forth, and I'll release 20 for every one that you release. You keep saying that it's a 1v20, and it is. It's one of you, and it's 20 songs of me every single day until the both of us die. This is old black man hate. You got to understand. This doesn't happen. This doesn't happen with people under 60 almost ever. This is old. We knew each other during the civil rights movement hate that he brought to this battle. And Drake was like, guys, I thought we were rhyming. The Grams, he laid it down. He started the song by talking to Drake's son. Talking to Drake's son, being like, I'm sorry that's your father. I'm sorry that's your father, because I can tell he's not raising you well, because I can tell he's not living a good life and he's not a decent man, okay? And so if you don't understand this right now because you're 6, play it back when you're 18, okay? He said lots of things. He said things that are illegal. He said Drake was doing things that, you can listen to it. Woof. He even had this effect in the song. At the end of the song, when he's like, you lie, he called him a liar several times, and he's like, you lied. I was like, oh, that's too much. And he tells him about himself. He talks to his son, he talks to his dad, he talks to his mom, and then he talks to him directly, right? He also talks to, potentially, a daughter that Drake is not taking care of. Which I was listening to, I was like, nah, I have a deep love, but a strange relationship with hip-hop. Because if everything is in music, it's all good. It's when things leave music that things get bad. And so as much as I joke about Drake and I like Kendrick and I've liked some of Drake's songs, I don't actually want them to do anything to each other. You know what I mean? Now, if what Kendrick is saying about Drake is true, we should lock Drake up. We should lock Drake up. And if what Drake is saying about Kendrick is true, we should lock Kendrick up, all right? Because then, as if Meet the Grams wasn't enough, Kendrick released a song called Not Like Us, which is the catchiest way to call somebody a I've ever heard in my life. You be dancing to it forgetting what the song is about. Like, And then Drake released The Heart Part 6. And I think that's when he lost. I think... Because in The Heart Part 6, he's like, this was all part of my plan. We fed you information about me for you to say, so everything that you said is wrong. And don't you feel dumb now that I tricked you? And it just kind of felt like, like what a kid, okay, like when you play a rock, paper, scissors, and you do rock, and then the kid does scissors, and they're like, no, actually, these are lasers. Ba-pow, 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 ba-pow. Because I was like, Drake, Drake, if it was part of your plan to feed Kendrick information about you for him to rap about very well, by the way, like even if those are lies, they do sound good and they sound very true. Even if you fed him all this information about you to rap about to then look dumb when it was wrong, why'd you send him that stuff? That's the worst stuff you could send somebody. Hey, tell him this thing about me that's not true but was true once, and tell him I'm a thing that no one wants to be. So now that it's over, because I do hope it's over, I feel like Drake should just release some songs about some feelings.